Restaurants don't run themselves. Two owners just proved it. One was released by seasoned multi-unit franchisees consolidating a portfolio. The other was sold by a first-time owner who tried to operate the restaurant from a distance and could not make the numbers work. Put them side by side and the same lesson appears twice. The concept did not decide these outcomes. The ownership model did. Here is how both deals came together and what each one tells us about buying or selling a restaurant today. Deal 1. Naples, Florida. Restaurant Resale by David Whitcomb. We sell restaurants. Naples, Florida. The seller. The sellers were experienced multi-unit owners of several national franchise brands. They were not selling under pressure, and they were not leaving the restaurant industry. Instead, they were reallocating capital and management attention toward growing other brands within their portfolio. That meant releasing a functioning Naples restaurant to an owner who could give it more attention. Experienced operators do not always sell because a location is failing. Sometimes a business simply no longer fits the long-term strategy. These sellers also remained active buyers. In July, they purchased a pizzeria they are converting to a Hungry Howie's location in Cape Coral, Florida. That is what portfolio focus looks like in practice. The buyer. The buyer was an experienced restaurant operator who had recently relocated to Florida and wanted a business close to his new home. 3 factors made the Naples restaurant attractive. First was proximity. He planned to be involved in the restaurant daily. Second was the operating model. A straightforward concept can reduce the learning curve and make it easier to maintain standards with an existing team. Third was cash flow. The restaurant was already operating, allowing the buyer to step into an established business rather than funding a long startup period. The deal. David Whitcomb of We Sell Restaurants in Naples, Florida, positioned the restaurant for the buyer pool it actually fit. A location being released by experienced franchise operators has a different story than a restaurant being sold because an owner needs an immediate exit. Relocation buyers can also be an important part of the restaurant resale market. They may already have restaurant experience, available capital, and a specific timeline for finding a business near their new home. Connecting those buyers with the right opportunity requires local market knowledge and an understanding of what motivates both sides of the transaction. Deal 2. Sugarland, Texas, Franchise Resale by Tamara Hamilton. We sell restaurants. Houston, Texas. The seller. The seller had no previous restaurant experience. He opened the Smoothie King location as an additional revenue stream alongside his other income and intended to operate it as a passive investment. Restaurants rarely work that way. Food service depends on daily decisions involving labor, inventory, cleanliness, speed of service, customer experience, and financial controls. Operating the restaurant from a distance, the location never performed the way the family had projected. This was not necessarily a problem with the concept. Smoothie King is an established national franchise with a defined operating system. The bigger challenge was the ownership model. The buyer. The buyer was a first-time restaurant owner, but he did not enter the transaction without restaurant knowledge. His cousin owns a Smoothie King, giving him first-hand exposure to the operating model, daily responsibilities, and economics before making the purchase. He also believed in the brand and understood that ownership would require involvement. Owner engagement was one of the variables the location had been missing, and the new buyer was prepared to provide it. The deal. This was a difficult transaction. The seller was upside down financially and ultimately brought funds to the closing table to complete the sale. That was not the outcome anyone originally wanted, but it allowed the seller to resolve the situation and avoid a bankruptcy filing. Tamara Hamilton of We Sell Restaurants in Houston, Texas, continued working the transaction until the deal closed. Difficult restaurant transactions often require more than simply finding a buyer. They can involve financial obstacles, multiple parties, landlord issues, franchise requirements, and a structure that allows the transaction to actually reach closing. What both deals have in common, the Naples seller was an experienced operator making a strategic portfolio decision. The Sugarland seller was a passive investor learning that restaurant ownership required more involvement than originally expected. Both restaurants sold because the buyer on the other side matched what the business needed next. Restaurants reward presence. In Naples, a hands-on operator purchased a proven location close to home and stepped into an operating business with existing cash flow. In Sugarland, an engaged first-time owner purchased a franchise he understood and believed in, bringing the ownership attention the location needed. Two very different transactions arrived at a similar solution. For buyers, an existing restaurant can remove many of the variables involved with starting from scratch. The build-out is completed, equipment is installed, employees may already be trained, customers know the location, vendor relationships are established. Most importantly, there is operating history that can be reviewed during due diligence and potentially evaluated by lenders. For sellers, the lesson is about timing and representation. Selling while you still have options generally provides more flexibility. Waiting until financial or operational pressure dictates the timeline can narrow those options quickly. The broker you choose also matters. Restaurant transactions can involve leases, financing, franchisor approval, due diligence, equipment, employees, financial records, and landlord negotiations. Specialized experience becomes especially valuable when a transaction is anything but simple. Thinking about buying or selling a restaurant? We Sell Restaurants focuses exclusively on the restaurant industry. Whether you are consolidating a portfolio, exiting a location that no longer fits your plans, or buying your first restaurant, our brokers understand the restaurant market, the buyer pool, and what it takes to reach closing. Call 4-048-006700 or visit WeSellRestaurants.com to start the conversation.